best leg strength exercises for hard enduro. So I've got three favorites that I'm going to go through in this video. Biggest problem I see with riders getting strong for hard enduro is they just don't use the right exercises that are going to get them the best level of transfer over to your riding. And for most of you, you've only got a limited amount of time that you train, okay, that you get dedicated towards training. So in this video, I just want to show you the exercises that are going to give you the best bang for your buck, okay, or bang for the amount of time that you've got to spend on your training. So you can spend more time riding and less time in the gym and doing other exercises. So first exercise is called the back squat. So to be able to perform the back squat well, you'll need a weight bar, a straight weight bar, preferably a squat rack so that you don't kill yourself getting the weight on your back, and then also some weight plates as well that you can put on the bar. So a few important things when we're performing a back squat. Well, first of all, the reason that it's important, the reason I like it, is because it's a multi-joint exercise. Okay, it gets multiple joints in our body working in the one exercise. So when I do a squat and I've got the weight on my back, I'm bending at the hip and I'm bending at the knee. I'm using my quads, my hamstrings, my glutes, my core, my upper back, my calves, my feet. Everything's working to be able to help me to move that weight. And the reason that's so good is because when you go and do hard enduro, exactly the same thing's happening. You're bending at the knees, you're bending at the hip, you've got all those muscle groups working. So the transfer that you get from a back squat with a bar is very high over to riding and racing. So how do we perform the exercise? So bar in the rack, we always want to make sure that we face into the rack, okay? We can put our hands, like the knurling is the rough bit on the bar here, we can put about thumb width out from the knurling, where the knurling starts, okay? Then what we're going to do, if you're able to get there, otherwise if you're a bit tight through the shoulders, you can probably go out a bit wider. So I will start with thumb width, okay? Bar on our back, we stand up, we shuffle back with our legs, and then we start to go into our squat. So some simple cues to make sure that you're performing a squat safely is make sure that you push the hips back first, then bend with the knees, okay, and then come back up. So bend with the hips, then the knees, okay? Push the hips back, bend with the knees. Push the hips back, bend with the knees. And so once you're done, walk back into the rack, okay? We bend our knees or bend our legs into the rack, make sure it's in safely on both sides, and then we're done. So in terms of starting off with this moving, okay, or scaling the movement, to start off with, you can just start with an empty bar, okay? If you're not confident with the squat, you haven't done squats before, it's more important that you just build a good base, you learn how to do the movement properly, and then you can stick weight on in the coming weeks. So if it's your first time going to the gym or you've got stuff at home, just take it easy with the movement. Do 4 sets of 10, nice and easy with an empty bar, then we can put on a little bit of weight next time. If you've been training for a bit already, you're comfortable with a squat, then what you can do is you might be able to start with something like, say, 5 sets of 5, okay? And you might start off with 80 kilos, okay, for your 5 sets of 5, and then slowly ramp that up each week. So the goal is not to go to failure with our sets. We want to work at around 80% effort. That's the sweet spot for being able to build strength without killing yourself, without getting hurt, and without being super sore for the rest of the week. Second exercise would be the deadlift. So I'll show you what a deadlift looks like. So lift from mid shin, standing up. I'll turn around in a sec so you can see. So I'll go side on for you guys. Okay. So back nice and straight. And again, the reason this exercise is so good, very similar to the squat, right? It's bending at the knees, bending at the hip. I've got to challenge my core, challenge my upper back to keep my back nice and straight. We've got everything working from head to toe, exactly like we are on the bike. Benefit of the deadlift and lifting from the floor is you can use a bit more weight generally than a back squat, but very effective exercise for building strength. A lot of people have problems with the deadlift, okay, and especially their back. If you're doing a deadlift properly, you should be using a very minimal amount of your back muscles, okay? A lot of the load should be lifted with deadlift is through your legs. So if you've got problems with your back always feeling like it's cooked, or you keep getting hurt doing deadlifts, then that's a good sign that you're probably not performing the deadlifts properly. But it's also a good sign that you're probably also overusing your back when you go and ride and not using your legs. So generally what I find is that riders have challenges with their back when they're riding. It's because they're using their back a lot to be able to move around on the bike and get up and down off the seat. And then they do the same thing with the deadlifts. So if you can work on your technique with the deadlifts and get all of the load out of your lower back and get it into your legs and the big powerhouse muscle groups, That means when you go and ride, you'll also be taking the load out of your lower back and using some of the bigger muscle groups as well. So it's a win-win. Less back pain, less back fatigue, and you can use some of the bigger muscles instead of fatiguing the little ones. That's the second exercise. The third exercise is weighted forward lunges. Okay, so I'll show you a forward lunge. I'll show you from behind first, then I'll shuffle over for you guys. Okay, so start off standing, you lunge forward, back knee can just go just above the floor so it doesn't have to smash into the ground. Then we're coming back up. Great thing about lunges, okay, that I like is they challenge your balance a little bit. Okay, that's number one. But the main thing is just a bit of variation from doing squats and deadlifts all the time. So you'll probably find with these, they are very good at activating your ass and getting them working. So if you haven't done any lunges and then you do some, even if it's with a very lightweight, you will probably be sore. Even if you do a fair bit of training, but you don't do lunges specifically, you'll find that you get a bit sore with your ass. So take it easy with them the first time that you do them, go a bit on the lighter side, and then slowly ramp them up as you go into the coming weeks. So, they are my top 3 exercises. We went through the back squat, the deadlift, and weighted lunges. As I said, in terms of scaling back, just don't be worried about having to load it up. Okay, when you load it up and your technique's not good and you don't know how to move, that's when you get hurt. When you get hurt with training, you probably don't want to train anymore. You're probably not too enthusiastic about getting back in the gym because you're like, why do I do that? Because it's making me worse, not making me better. So focus on moving well. Get some help with either a coach or a personal trainer at the gym. So make sure you're performing everything correctly. Start off with light weights and then slowly ramp up over the coming weeks. If you'd like some help with this stuff, feel free to apply for my Faster Laps program below. We do everything for our riders. We map out all of their training, their exercises, videos on how to perform the exercises, catch up with them every week to make sure that everything's on target and we're not wasting our time and they're making progress. The only thing we don't do for you is actually go down to the gym and do the exercises for you. So if you'd like everything mapped out, you can apply below. Otherwise, hopefully you enjoyed this video.